Hey, Onzen 8's here. There's the Onzen 8 cell. They're in, they're available, and we're going to go over just a quick rundown on doing a retrofit for the Onzen 8. We're going to replacing it, what goes into it, and a couple little tips, what we need to know about it. Alright? So, if we're going to retrofit the Onzen 8 into an existing Onzen cell, what we're going to do first is you're going to come into the cell here, which is your previous, this is a version 7 cell. We're going to remove this cell out by cutting the nut on the back side and then pulling the whole cell and wall flange out. What you want to make sure before you do absolutely anything is you'll notice that the size of this housing is a lot larger than this. So make sure that you know that this is going to fit where the version 7 cell is. If it's not going to fit, find another spot somewhere else in the tub to cut the hole out for your version 8 cell. If you do have enough room, like in this spot, we're going to just drill this hole out larger. So I'm going to take the nut off the back side of it and disconnect the electrical, and we'll just pull this guy right out. If you have the 3/4 inch line running into the back of this, because the new one obviously doesn't have an input for it to go into. So if you have that, just cut it off and run the 3/4 inch line into the hot tub drain and tee it into the drain. And we'll just pull this guy right out. Now you have your hole. It's a 3-inch hole you have right here. So what we're going to take is we're going to take a drill to hole saw to cut it a larger size to fit this. So we're going to take that, which is a 3 1/4 inch hole saw bit. We're going to lock that in, and then we're going to take a 3-inch bit, with our 3-inch hole saw bit, and we're going to thread that inside. And what that's going to do is it's going to lock inside of this hole and hold us centered to drill the next hole. Now, sometimes the hole might be a little bit smaller. This hole might be a little bit smaller. You'll want to start off in reverse, just so it doesn't jump out, and get yourself set in the track, and then you can go into forward afterwards. So, I'm going to get set in there. Alright, now we've drilled out a hole large enough for the version 8 cell. So now we can take this guy, spin this nut off. We'll do a really nice bead of silicone right around here. We're going to set it through, set it in so that it's facing upwards. Just that slight amount of angle that's on it makes all the difference in the world of actually having the gases come and gas right out of where the cell is, okay? So that's how it's going to mount in. We'll just thread the nut on the back side. So that's how you do your retro for just removing the cell and putting the new one in on the spot itself. Now there's some other components and there's some other information that's really important you guys need to know. Okay? One thing you're going to need to know is this cell is built so that the consumer can replace it in the future, alright? And if we're going to be replacing that in the future, there's electrical contacts inside of here, and it's imperative that water never gets inside of here, alright? The spa still must be drained. It's mandatory that the spa is drained. Now right here, there's a set screw. Can you see that? It's in there good. We've got a set screw right there. It's a Phillips screw. Now you can unthread it. Take that Phillips screw out. Now, it's pretty tight. Now, then your cell threads right up. You can see here is your little 12-volt connection, and there's a little socket inside of there. where it goes. That's the part that cannot get wet. If this gets the salt water on it, it's going to corrode and break down. It'll be visibly noticeable, and it'll void the warranty on the cell if it is corroded, because we're making it very clear you cannot get these parts of it wet. Now, if you are changing the cell, if the customer's changing the cell, we have literature that we're putting out with all the cells, and I'll be sending out as a bulletin. When you do change them as well, dielectric grease. So if you're going to switch it out, there's a bunch of dielectric grease. It cuts down on corrosion, especially in saltwater conditions. So we'll beat that up. We'll change it out, and then you can replace it. Now, in here as well, there's a little stopper right here. There's a little stopper there. There's a little stopper there. They're built specifically to have it set at a perfect torque. And it's click, it stops, and it also stops at exactly where the set screw needs to go. So that's how the cell gets changed or replaced in the future, and the consumer can do it themselves. They need to drain the spa, don't get any water inside of there, and they just undo the set screw, thread it out, put the new one back in. Alright. Now we're going to go to the next components, alright? So you're going to get your Onzen version 8 replacement cell. Set that down. And it's got a new style of plug. You're also going to get this little gold box, looks like an amp. This is a current limiter. What this does is, for this cell, 1500 parts per million is all you're going to need to bring up the amperage that's feeding the cell enough to produce enough sanitizer, alright? And what this limiter does is it will not allow more than 1 amp of current to go to that. At 1500 parts per million, that's enough salt to produce 1 amp. Anything over 1500 parts per million will be excessive. So these have light plugs to go in. They're just little 2-prong plugs. So that'll plug in there. So you're going to come off the cell through this plug. Probably be a good idea. Doesn't hurt, never hurts, because we're dealing with the salt water and corrosion. So put a dab, dielectric grease. We'll thread that in. This will be underneath the spa. Now, for the lead that was coming off of your generator that was going to the previous cell, is going to go to the input side of your current limiter. And it'll say on here too, 1 amp load, an arrow going out, going to the cell, source, 12 volt. But we obviously don't have a plug like this, so you're simply going to cut the plug off. Then we'll get some couplers, like spade connectors, get male and female connectors, and couple these on. Okay, again, dielectric grease. Pack it inside of there. Both sides. When you're hooking these wires up, it does not matter which one gets hooked up to which, because the polarities do switch over, so that'll be fine. There, you got those hooked up. So you're going to keep the same generator, just going to cut the connector off of your current limiter and put some spade connectors on there, male and females, hook that up. It's going to run through here. You've got your connection here that has dielectric grease, and you've got your cell that is replaceable by the consumer. Okay, a couple of additional pieces of information for you is when hooking up the 12 volt in supply from the generator, you'll notice you have red and black wire. white and black wire. It does not matter which wire hooks up to which, because it reverses polarity going to them, so don't worry about which wire is getting hooked up. It's going to work just fine. Then, there's an old cell for you, eh? The cells, when you're taking them out, it's the Yukon and the Tundra are the two spas that you have a really good chance that you're going to have to relocate the version 8 cell, because it won't fit in the same spot as where the version 7 was sitting. So you're going to have to drill a new hole. In that case, you have to still remove the version 7 cell and put a 2-inch plug in place of it so that I can get this back for warranty, alright? Important info. Thanks, guys. That's how you fix it.